Here's the deck I was playing, Ice Lightning. It combines my two favourite cards from Opus 27, Seymour and Zoral Jar. I've done videos about both of those guys individually and how you can build decks around them, so I won't repeat myself too much. For Seymour, he can slot into any deck that uses ice. He pairs really well with the new lock, and Rufus and Shantotto complement that package as well. For Zoral, we need lots of Category 14 backups to make sure we have 4 Category 14 characters to give him haste. I'm also using the Eminate and Sid Waff because I think Sid is so crucial for any deck that can run him. The multi-element cards are just solid options, and I'm trying a small Scions package of Alisei and Estinian. Estinian can recur a Scion when he attacks, and Alisei can recur any forward, plus at damage 3, he's then able to recur a Scion as well as any forward. And the last card I went for was one Krista, who's another kind of discard. The one concern I had was that there isn't much interaction. Sephiroth acts like a summon because we can back attack him into play on our opponent's turn. I considered running some actual summons, but none of the options in Ice and Lightning seem like game changers. The game plan is to try to bully our opponent with Seymour and follow it up with continuous pressure from the other forwards. So it was hard to imagine a scenario where I'd want to cast a summon in response to something, rather than just waiting until my own turn to play another forward instead. If I was going to edit the list to include more summons, then Alisei and Estinian would be the things to cut. Onto the game itself. My opponent's on Cadets, and I'm going second. My first 5 cards are 3 Alcid and 2 Seymour, so I think to myself, what the hell's going on? But as you can see, I've shuffled my deck a decent amount. It's just a coincidence, so that's an easy mulligan. And the next 5 have 2 Louis Suarez and a Shale, so that's a really solid start. My opponent's going first, and they're on Cadets, and they play 2 backups and colour fixed as well, so that's a very good start for them. Back to me, and I draw my third Louis Suarez, so I'm thinking maybe I didn't shuffle, but I can assure you I did. So now I've got lots of options. I've got a Yashale and a Black Mage as a turn 1 backup, and Louis Suarez as a turn 2. So obviously I can ditch one of the 3 Louis Suarez, play that one. Next turn I'm going to do pitch Louis Suarez and tap to play Louis Suarez, search for Alphino, and potentially do a Yashale as well. My opponent plays Queen and then reactivates their 1 backup and then use that to play another backup. Back to me. So as I said, pitch 1 Louis Suarez, play the other, search for Alphino, and then I want to play Yashale to get colour fixed as well. So I don't know why I shuffled my deck so much when I knew I was going to go back and search in a moment, but never mind. So in my hand, I've got 2 Shantottos, a Rufus, and a Sephiroth. So I can ditch definitely 1 Shantotto, and then it's just what other card to ditch. So I'm tempted to ditch the Alphino itself, but I'd rather just have another backup option for next turn, if nothing else. So I ditch a Rufus and a Shantotto, play a Shale, and I'm going to search for Seymour. And pass. My opponent taps their backups to play Trey, who will retrieve a cadet from the break zone. So they're just checking which cadet they have. They do have one there. Then they use Queen to reactivate 2 backups, tap them and discard to play Ace. He'll draw a card, and then they attack. And there's no EX bursts to worry about in this deck, so it's back to me. I've drawn a Zoral, so I could play it, but the problem is they've got Ace's ability where they could discard a card to dull him, so Zoral is unlikely to be able to attack. I've got a Seymour, but he'll cost 5 and then tap 1, so I'm going to have to do a double discard for Seymour. I've got an Alcid, so I could freeze the Queen, but what would I deploy? The Zoral, who's probably going to get dulled. and they've still got a Shantotto, but they need to be down to one card and they got two. So it's a bit of a puzzler. And I'm not sure I'll make the right decision in all honesty. So I decide to play the Seymour. I discard one of my backups in the Alcid. I'm keeping hold of the Sephiroth because I think it might be important to try and deal with that ace because there's not a lot of break in this deck. So that's one of the options. Otherwise, this ace could get a bit annoying, stopping the Seymour from attacking every turn. So we've killed a dull forward from Seymour and frozen two backups and then just passed. My opponent plays another queen and then reactivates two of their backups. And then they use seven special to break a forward that costs less than or equal to the number of cadets, and they've got six, so they can kill the Seymour straight away. So now I'm thinking I'm quite far behind because my Seymour didn't live a turn. They've got four backups and two forwards, one of which is ace. It's going to be really difficult to kill. The ace is dull though, so that's why I now go straight for the Sephiroth to kill a dual forward. And then I can also go for Zaral, who can swing and kill that queen. So not too bad. They've still got their four backups though, and I've kept the Seymour that I drew in hand. So go to combat, swing with Zaral, who's got haste from the three backups plus himself, and kill queen. Then pass back to my opponent. They play Cloud LB first to kill the Zaral, so that was another reason why I was a bit reluctant to play him because it was obvious that they could just do that straight away to kill him, but at least he killed one of their forwards when he attacked. And then they play Ren back up to retrieve a cadet from their break zone. Pass back to me. So I've still got the Seymour and I've drawn a Rufus and a Zeromus. So I'm wondering what to do because all of them are solid plays. I want to do the Seymour, but I don't really want to discard both cards to do it. And the other consideration is my opponent's down to just one card, so Sephiroth is already going to make them discard it when he attacks. So it feels like it would be a waste of a Seymour because I'd only be able to dull freeze two things and get off one of the effects, not both. So instead, I decide to do Rufus, so pay two and discard the Zeromus, and then hopefully next turn I can use the Seymour for something that's a bit more impactful. And then, really annoying, they hit a Re-VX, so now they do have two cards in their hand. And I've not yet seen the Sidwoth back up to deter them from doing it. Back to my opponent. They pay three to play eight, who gains haste, and when he deals damage, he can get back a cadet from the break zone. He's only 7k, but I ask about abilities and they point out that that backup can tap to give him 1k in first strike. So it means I'm not going to block. I probably wouldn't have done anyway. It's a Seymour to damage. Still got Seymour in my hand. And then they use seven special to break my Sephiroth and pass back to me. I draw Alcid and Y'shtola. I've still got the Seymour, but I'm in the same situation where Seymour would require me to discard both my cards, which I don't really want to do. So I'm hurting not having a fourth backup here. Y'shtola can play and she would deal 7k, 9k less the two cards in his hand. And I could do Alcid into your Stola, get both of them on the field, and that would be two freezes on the forward. So that's what I do in the end. I pitch Seymour to do it, play Alcid, he'll freeze one of them, and then deploy your Stola, freeze the other one. Your Stola can attack. I don't really want to kill them though. But first I can attack with Rufus, make him discard at least. And then lo and behold, it's a bloody Odin. So now I'm feeling a bit stupid. So he kills the Alcid, and I was already thinking I didn't really want to attack with Yustola and kill one of his things. Now, because of my forward dying, I definitely don't want to, so I just pass. And I've got no card in hand, so the writing's on the wall at this point, I think, unfortunately. So firstly, he does another 7 special, takes out Yustola, and then he plays Size for 1, takes out Rufus. He's got 3 bodies on field. I've got no cards in hand. And then, just for good measure, he plays an LB Emperor as well. So he's now got 4 attackers. I've got no blockers at this moment. And then I've drawn into a Lock and a Sephiroth. So Lock isn't going to do much good. Sephiroth could kill a dual forward. I don't really want to kill either of those. And I need bodies on the field, so I decide to do 2 LBs instead. So LB Cloud to take out one thing, and then I can play Surges to freeze one of those 2 dual forwards. So it'll be the 8 because that's the one that can get back a cadet if I take damage. So at least I've got 2 bodies on the field now. But again, I'm not really holding out much hope at this point. They do another blooming special with their backups. So I just have to check what this one does. So it deals 4k per cadet forward that they have, and they've got 2, so that's 8k. Take out my cloud and then attack. I'm not going to block because again they've got the threat of boosting by 1k in first strike. I'm now on 5 damage and I've got just a Surges to block. And then I draw an Eminer and a Lock. So again, no miracles here. So I play a Victoria. They've only got 2 cards in hand, so she can 7k and kill the 8 at least. It's another body. Still got a card in hand, so I guess if I don't die this turn, there's a chance I could have a comeback turn if I draw something good. I'm on 5 damage, so Zaral, if he was able to attack, could break 2 things. But to show off the full range of all their specials, this time it's a Trey special to take out my Victoria. And then I can see by the fact they're counting out their breaks on, they're about to cast the Odin on me. Yeah, so kill my other blocker. And then they've got 2 attackers. So swing, swing, and that's a loss, unfortunately. So I say to him, this is no good. We're supposed to be showcasing the deck. So let's do another game and then we'll see if I can do better. So we'll move on to game 2. I'm starting down here. It does include a backup, a Louis Suarez, but I'm not a fan. I've got a Sephiroth, a Zaral, a Seymour, and an Alisei. And it's keepable enough because I can go Louis Suarez into Alpha and have 2 backups. So that's what I opt to do. And then turn 2, I can do a Seymour. My opponent discards an Odin to play a 7, I believe that is. And then they do 4 for a Reeve, get to look at the top 3 and add 1 to their hand. And then presumably they're going to pass with 3 in hand. You can see there, the other card I drew for turn last turn was a Lock, so that's why I kept that. I need an ice card. in case I don't draw one to play Seymour on the next turn. Back to me, and I draw an Emina and a Yashale. So I could play either of those instead, and that's what I'm debating about doing. But given the way the last game went, I'm thinking I'd rather just slam down this Seymour and start pressuring their backups and their hand, and then I can always keep one of those other two for next turn. So I'm keeping the Emina because it will search me the Sid Dwarf, who can then protect against the EX burst. So discard your shell unlock to play Seymour, pay the one, dual freeze the two backups and make him discard. So he's got two cards in hand with two frozen backups. I'm feeling pretty confident that he's not going to be able to kill the Seymour. So next turn he should be able to attack and get his effects again. My opponent's been saying about how that's really screwed him over and he's not sure what he can do here. And in the end, he just plays an Atomos and passes, and he has two cards in hand. So it's back to me. I can attack with Seymour and pay one to dual freeze and make him discard. I've drawn a the one cost backups in each colour. So attack, make him discard, dual freeze the two backups. Thankfully, it's not an EX burst, and then I'll just use the remaining CP to play the one costed machinist and pass. So I've still got the Eminist, and I've got a board, a one CP board in my hand. They pay four to play Rem, get back a cadet from the break zone. But this means they're down to just one card in hand. So it's going very well for me so far because I'm about to lose that one card. I think about playing my backup first to try and grab the Sid, but I'd have to discard. I drew another Seymour, so I'd have to discard that if I wanted to play um, Sid Waff before Seymour attacked. So I'd rather just take the risk that it's not going to be an Odin to kill him. I'd already seen him discard one Odin, and then I can use tap two and discard to play Eminent and search Sid. So next turn I can play the Sid at least. My hand is Seymour, Sid, and Louis Soir. So if they do kill this Seymour, I can play the other one next turn. If they don't, I can play Sid War. My opponent, they've only got three cards and they're not really happy with their choices. And in the end, they just discard a win card and play another backup, the Juice backup. And they pass turn with one in hand again. So this is good news for me. Seymour's going to rip that one. And I can also insulate against the X bursts. I've drawn an Estinian and a Y'shtola, so I could also play the Estinian who'll have haste and get back a Scion. So if I pitch the Y'shtola, I could get that back, and then that's another point of damage. But, and this is what I'm thinking about here, but I decide there's no urgency. I'd rather keep the cards in hand, and then I can respond if need be. So attack with Seymour. This is going to put them to damage three. So I choose to freeze the Atomos so they can't attack next turn and reactivate all their backups. And then I just have a double check. Is there anything in the LB that's worth casting? No, I don't think so. The only thing potentially could have been a Gilgamesh, but there's not much danger from breaks or recursion. So, yeah, just pass with four in hand. So I've got another Seymour to go in case this one gets killed. Ishtola can also have haste if they've got two cards or less and uh, take something out potentially. So I'm in a very strong position at the minute. They tap three to play eight, who's got haste, and when he deals damage, they'll recur a cadet. But I'm not too bothered. Just have taken a damage, big deal. They've got a card back, so they're on two in hand, and eight can't block now. So again, they've only got two in hand, so it's not going to be very impactful, whatever they do. So they pass back to me with 2 in hand. I draw a Zoral and a lock. So this is good news. I can do lock, make them randomly discard after drawing. That's going to be 1 dual freeze. When Seymour attacks, I'll make them discard, and then that'll trigger lock. So 2 dual freezes from lock and 2 from Seymour himself. Again, I choose to freeze the Atomos, but just in case, if they were able to attack next turn with Atomos, he could reactivate all of their backup. I decide it is worth playing the Astrola now, so she can swing and kill that 8. It's another point of damage. Attack with Seymour first, pay 1, dual freeze 2 backups, make him discard from lock, which will be another dual freeze, and then can swing with your Stola, kill the 8, do another point of damage, put him to 5. I've got a Zoral in hand who has haste and can take out a blocker, so I should be able to win next turn. My opponent, obviously they're aware that they're not going to be able to win, but they say, oh, I'll just play on just for the sake of the video. So they've got 3 cards, but they've only got 1 active backup, so they opt to pay 4 for Sync, who can resurrect a cadet up to the number of cadets they've got on field, which is 4. So they can resurrect Ace, and then he'll draw them a card, so they'll go back to 1 in hand. So they could discard to duel 1 of my attackers, but I've got 3, and I've got a Zoral as well. So yeah, it's going to be game. Oh, a spite. They just decide to use their last card to play Emperor instead. I don't know if spite's the right word. Pass back to me. I've got Zoral good to go. So play him. He can swing and take out 1 blocker. Stroller can take out the other. And there's 2 damage. Now swing and kill Ace first. They choose to just take a damage and swing and take the 7th, and that's game. So a bit better showing from the deck this time, which is nice to see. Here's the deck list once again. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. See you again.